Hi, everybody. My name is Mokri. I'm one of the founders and the CEO at Byte. Welcome to today's webinar, where we're going to talk about fresh food vending and the tremendous opportunity that it represents for hopefully all of you. So while people come in, we have a lot of content to get through. I'm really excited to take you through it. By now, we're all pandemified, if that's a word. But to familiarize yourselves with Zoom, Q&A below. As you have questions throughout the presentation, please submit your questions. Because we have so many people attending, we'll probably hold Q&A until the end. But encourage any and all questions there. So again, for those of you who just joined, thank you for joining today. My name is Mokri. I'm one of the founders and the CEO at Byte. Today, we're going to talk all about fresh food vending and how it is such a tremendous opportunity, particularly in this moment of time. So to go through the agenda, I'll do a quick introduction on who I am. I'd really like to touch on our story as a company, how we got started. Byte, as some of you may know, actually started as an operator using this technology in the field. So I want to touch on how we got started, some of our learnings, and then I want to spend the bulk of the time just talking about this opportunity and then what it's like working with Byte Technology, what it takes to get started, and then hopefully we'll have a decent chunk of time at the end for Q&A. So without further ado, as I mentioned, Byte, when we first started the company, we actually started as an operator of the technology. We grew to operating well over 500 fridges across a range of different types of locations. So we've seen firsthand the potential impact of having a kiosk in a workplace or a hospital or a school, you name it, really any type of location can have. And so I want to talk through the story of how we got started as a company, because I think it'll provide helpful context on how today we've really purposefully built the technology and the platform for the unattended sale of fresh food. Let's talk about how it works. I'm going to show you a quick video, but basically Byte prides ourselves in providing consumers a completely frictionless buying experience. These are very small kiosks. They can be placed anywhere. There's a digital menu that's purely informational, so that's where your pricing is going to be shown. But to transact, swipe a credit card, that unlocks the kiosk. Open shelving means you can grab anything, multiple products at once. And then once the door is closed, we automatically know what was taken. The consumer can enter their email to get a receipt, and that's it. So from a consumer perspective, shopping at a Byte kiosk is really easy, and it really mimics shopping at a market because you're actually able to interact with the product. You don't have to self-check out or anything. The technology automatically knows what was removed from the kiosk and charges accordingly. Now, as an operator of the technology, the most important thing is that you're making money doing this. And in order to make money in this manner, fresh food vending, you have to have real-time data. The data is absolutely critical for you to optimize the business, to know what the projected expirations are on products, all of it. And so behind the kiosk is the Byte dashboard. And this is kind of your operating system for the kiosk. This is where all of the data in terms of what's selling, what's not selling, the real-time temperature monitoring of the fridges, the ability to set up discounts, to receive feedback from the consumers, all happens through the Byte dashboard. So when you think of the Byte system as a whole, there is the kiosk, and then there's also the actual software dashboard. So hopefully that provides context as to the full solution of Byte. Now, let's talk about the story of how we started as a company. And it goes back to this grainy picture. The company was founded about 7 years ago. And for context, we initially started, producing meals in a kitchen and delivering meals direct to consumer. And we found that that was just a a very difficult model to make money through. And so we really rethought, how can we meet consumers where they're already spending time away from home? We know that consumers want access to fresh, healthy food. That piece was obvious. But how do we deliver that in a very cost-effective and profitable manner? So this is a picture of me mocking up a fridge with the shelves, and we've got our packaging there to mock up how we would merchandise that first fridge. And then we hit the phones. We started calling workplaces in the area. We pretty quickly landed our first accounts. And this is an example of our first client. It was Glassdoor's corporate offices in Mill Valley, California. So this is a suburb of San Francisco. You can see it's kind of office park situation where Glassdoor was catering for their employees several times a week, and they had a lot of free snacks, but there was a big complaint from their employees that there weren't enough healthy options available to them. And so that's where they brought Byte in, is to have a wider range of variety for their employees, as well as support those people that were there either really early morning, late in the evening, or even over the weekends. And we saw early on, we did about $1,600 in food sales there, which pretty decent considering that there was so much free food available to individuals already in this office. Our second location, 2K Games corporate offices. Again, another office park situation. So this one a little bit further north in the Bay Area, in Novato, California. They had 650 employees spread across 2 large buildings. Now, there was no food on site. They had paid vending, and when I say paid vending, it was like sodas, it was bags of chips, it was candy bars. It was not meals. It was not healthy food options, and that was a major complaint for their employees, is that they didn't have a way to very quickly get something in between meetings, for lunch, breakfast, those middle of the day periods. And so they brought Byte in, and right off the bat, they saw tremendous traction. The employer, 2K Games, chose to subsidize the cost of the food by 30%. And that basically means through the Byte dashboard, we set up a discount of 30% on all that food. The employees benefited from better, fresh, healthy options at a 30% discount, and 2K Games benefited from having happier, healthier, more productive employee base. Now, I think what's amazing is that 2K Games is still leveraging Byte kiosks, but they've grown to going from 1 kiosk to, I think, 8 kiosks across their 2 buildings. So a tremendous success story. Now, early lessons learned. And this is a really poor picture, but it's the authentic picture, right? This is what our kiosks looked like when we first started. But the early lessons learned, first and foremost, the opportunity, and hopefully I can convey this during our time together today, it's just much bigger than we originally thought. Consumers want access to quality fresh food at all kinds of locations. It's not just at work, it's in hospitals, it's in schools, it's in apartment buildings, particularly now as many people are spending a lot of time at home. It's in gyms, it's in airports. It's much more expansive than just a single segment of workplaces. And then the second piece that was really interesting for us is that even for locations that have a cafeteria, Byte was a fantastic option. And the reason Byte was and still remains a fantastic option for those locations that have a cafeteria is that it augments the hours of that cafe. So whether it means in this day and age when there's so many labor shortages, closing the cafe down slightly earlier, but still having a Byte fridge available, or extending the reach of that cafe into areas of the campus that perhaps are really far, the Byte kiosks offer a really nice way to augment the offering. And so we kept growing and growing. We ultimately ended up serving over 500 locations throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. We grew the team, of course, and we really learned firsthand how to take this very powerful technology and open up fresh food, make it available for sale in a range of different types of locations, but also do it profitably. And I wanted to have this as a backdrop as we talk today, because we really do speak from experience. We are a technology platform, but we have a rich heritage and rich background as an actual operator of the technology. So how to get started on Byte. So getting started with Byte, it really distills down into 3 steps: place, stock, and earn. First, let's start with place. You have to have a location in order to place a fridge. So some of you may already have a location. Perhaps you're joining from a university or from a workplace. So this part's easy. It just becomes a matter of where within your location you want to place the fridge. For others who are looking at this as a new way to kind of have a new channel to sell products, securing a location is the first step. First and foremost, whenever you're going out to selling this service, fresh food vending, just know first and foremost that fresh food at any type of location it delivers very clear ROI. Certainly when there's employees involved, it's a boost in productivity. Anytime you're giving somebody an option that's better for them, and I'm a big proponent and a big believer that workplaces should play a major role in making fresh, healthy options affordable and available for their employees, it's going to have an immediate impact on productivity. Second, this really is across the board and in a wide range of locations that's going to impact the culture. Anytime you're bringing better food, interesting food in, you're going to impact the culture. And then, of course, the third is wellness. So the other piece here that I will add is that if you're going to be selling this, it's a highly differentiated offering. Fresh food vending has not, been available before. The technology is unlocking this. And of course, you as the purveyors of food, with those 2 pieces brought together, it's just unlocking a tremendous opportunity across a wide range of locations. And I'll just take you through some sample photos of fridges in the wild, so to say. We see Byte fridges in workplaces, of course, of all sizes, businesses as small as 20 people up to those with thousands and thousands of people where there's already cafeterias on site, but this is augmenting the hours or the reach. Of course, hospitals, we work with hospitals across the US. Airports, particularly now with the intense labor shortages, maintaining a level of service in airports and any other segment is critical. And Byte offers a very low cost way to do that, to keep the doors open. Number of our clients putting Byte fridges in retail locations. This is in an outdoor mall. This is outside a storefront, acting as a fresh food ATM, open 24/7 for Buddha's, Go Buddha's customers. Wineries, really the sky's the limit. And now is the time. COVID has created such a massive shift across the board everywhere. As you guys all know, everybody's lives have been shaken up. People are starting to go back to work, really figuring out what is that balance. Is it now a hybrid workplace where some employees are in, some employees are out? Workplaces are looking for amenities that attract employees back into the office and make people want to come into work, but they also need solutions that can support numbers that fluctuate. And Byte is the prime example of a solution that does just that. I mentioned the labor shortages. Byte is a very low cost, low labor way to remain open. And the flexibility. So I think the flexibility of Byte also being the fact that it's so small and you can have 2 guys in a U-Haul move a fridge from a location to a location is pretty key moving forward. The next piece is stocking the store with your food or with others. And a few pieces to keep in mind. Byte's solution, as you can see here, it's open shelving with slidable dividers. So that basically means Byte supports any type of packaging as long as you meet the shelf height requirements, which we really don't see any clients run into, you can move the shelving dividers and really support any type of product packaging. You can stock your food or others or a mix thereof. And then the cooler can actually support a range of temperatures. So most clients are using Byte because our bread and butter is fresh food, but you can increase the temperature range and do shelf-stable products as well. The next step, once you have your product set, is setting up products in the Byte dashboard. So every product in the Byte dashboard carries certain information with it. You, of course, set up the price. You're able to set up your costs, all the nutritionals. You can flag different nutritional criteria so that if somebody who's gluten-free or allergic to dairy can actually filter the menu based on product that meets that criteria. All of that is set up in Byte's dashboard. And then the next piece is every product that gets stocked in a Byte fridge has a tag on it, an RFID tag. And that is what tells the kiosk what is in stock, what's being purchased. And so if I create a product in the dashboard, a Thai style wrap, I then order tags to be placed on that Thai style wrap. Or I could be a little bit more vague. I could set up products as an energy drink. Let's say I want to have different types of the energy drink, and it's not really important for me to know the granularity between those different SKUs. I can just create a tag for an energy drink and use it across those two SKUs. One really important piece about RFID tags and how valuable it is for fresh food is that we're able to track the time that every individual product has sat on the shelf. And why that becomes valuable for an operator is first and foremost food safety. You want to make sure that you don't have spoiled food out there. But secondly, and I think what is really compelling is that you can use that data in our platform to set up dynamic pricing. So if you want to set up a discount for any product that's expected to expire in a day or less, or 2 days or less, automatically discount that by 40%. You have the power through Byte's platform to do just that. So as I mentioned, every shelf in the Byte fridge has antennas, it has sensors, and that's what's reading in real time what's in stock. That's how we know precisely what was purchased. That's how we know how long this little rice ball sat on the shelf. So that's the basis and the power of Byte's frictionless buying. Okay, place, stock, and then it's about earning. At that point, you've placed the kiosk in a location, you've stocked it with fantastic food, you've got all your products set up in the dashboard. Then it comes down to optimizing your results. I mentioned the Byte dashboard earlier. You have data populating in the dashboard in real time. This is where you're able to see your sales, you're able to see what's in inventory. You get to the level of granularity of knowing how much a delivery driver put in a fridge and precisely what they removed. It's real-time tracking of all of your inventory flows. I think the other piece here is that from a food safety perspective, you have real-time temperature monitoring of your fridges. You're able to see what's in temp versus out of temp. You have the power to automatically lock down those fridges from a food safety perspective, or if you're going through a recall of product. Think of this as kind of your control panel. We're also surfacing, kind of making the operations of these kiosks very easy. So surfacing fridges that are out of stock of a certain product, allowing you to set up PARs and know what needs to be packed out with each delivery is all supported through Byte's dashboard. So I wanted to walk through some sample economics. We see fridges selling a wide range of food. So on the low end, $800 a month. On the high end, we have fridges at airports doing $13,000 in sales a month. But I encourage each of you to do just a quick breakdown of the unit economics. And our team actually has a calculator if you're interested in seeing that. But looking at on a monthly basis, kind of some average earnings, $2,400 in food sales, subtracting out the cost of food, This is assuming a 50% margin on any food sold. For those of you who are making your own food, of course, it's going to be higher. You have the cost of delivery, and then of course the fees that are due to Byte. So in this breakdown, a monthly earnings of $765 per store. I want to make sure we have a lot of time for Q&A, but I also, to recap, we started the company to make the convenient choice a healthy choice. Everything about our platform is purpose-built for fresh food, while we have the flexibility to sell really any type of food through our platform. The mission behind the company really is to make the convenient choice a healthy choice. So for those of you who are on the call who share that mission, I applaud you, and I hope to be working together, because there's nothing that thrills us more than seeing, our hundreds of clients out there making their delicious fresh food more available to people in a range of different locations. To touch on the pricing, so the way we price Byte solution is the kiosk itself is $4,500. You own that. It becomes your asset. You can brand it. Byte Technology really wants to fall into the background. We're just the platform that allows you to sell food 24/7. And these are workhorses. I mean, we have our existing model fridge has been out there for 5, 6, 7 years, and they are workhorses. Then ongoing fees of the $125 a month software license, that includes cellular connectivity, which basically means the fridge arrives, you plug it in, and you're ready to go. 4.5% credit card processing, and then 15 cents per RFID tag. All of this includes a year warranty on the hardware. I think what I really pride ourselves on is just the being a partner to our clients, not just a vendor. And so we really put out a lot of content on how to sell this service into locations, how to kind of manage an account and grow an account once you have one. And then, of course, a pretty extensive help desk with self-guided onboarding videos. I'm going to pop out and do one more poll, because like I said, we put out a lot of content that that we hope is helpful to both our existing clients as well as prospects, but want to know what more you guys would like to see. So what other tools do you want to see that would make you feel more confident with this channel? Maybe you're compelled, but you need to find your first location. Maybe it's about equipment financing and bringing down the upfront cost of the fridge. Maybe it's just modeling out what the financials would look like. Maybe you're looking for products. Is it the logistics that would allow you to actually make the deliveries? Or maybe you're ready to go. And for those of you who are just waiting on your first location, I want to point you to some future webinars that we're holding. We hold a regular one called Selling the Service, and that's where my co-founder, our head of sales, actually goes into how you position and sell the service for your business. Also, I think actually 100% of Byte's sales team has previously sold the service into locations. So our sales team is also a really rich set of resources. Okay, let me end this poll before I yammer on. Here are the results. Equipment financing, financial. This is really helpful, guys. Wonderful. Okay, back into presentation. Some other resources I want to point you to. Byte Academy. I mentioned that we put out a lot of content that, like on Byte Academy, we have sales deck templates that you can use. We have sales scripts. We have one-pagers that you can provide to locations. You can reach that at support.bytetechnology.co. And then follow us on social. If you're already on Instagram or you like YouTube, we do put a lot. We're aiming to put out a lot more content there, just little tidbits of tips and tricks. We share client success stories and whatnot. Okay, without further ado, let's get to Q&A. This is my favorite part. I'm going to stop sharing and open the Q&A. Oh, we've got a question on our integration with Seaboard student payment technology. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Seaboard, many universities use Seaboard or other solutions to have declining balance student cards. And we are actually set up to go live with our first Seaboard implementations in the next month. We're actually in the middle of the integration right now. So we'll be able to support Seaboard, Blackboard, Transact, a number of others really in the next few months. Another question, does your technology provide the ability to do badge swipes for employees to payroll deduct or college students for meal swipes? So it depends, certainly for college students, it depends on the platform that's being used, but we're now in a position to support most of the major ones. We're working with an integrator called Apriva. For those of you who are familiar with that solution, it allows us to integrate with Apriva and then support a wide range of campus cards. So if you reach out to us and let us know the specific declining balance provider, we can let you know if that's live now, or if not, when it will be live. Somebody asked, if I want to sell my own food, do I need any certifications? I guess the way I would answer this is beyond, you don't need any certifications necessarily to work with Byte. You'll certainly want to make sure that you go through the usual health department certifications for your kitchen and whatnot, but not with Byte. And I always encourage you to talk with your local county health department as to whether or not you need like a micro market license or a vending license. It really depends county by county. Question, can I sell my own food? If yes, how will I get RFID tags? For example, our foods change daily. Oh, this is a great question. We have a lot of clients that make their own food and they have a rotating menu, which is also fantastic for consumers because it keeps it interesting. Oftentimes these clients, if you know your menu in advance, you can order tags in advance for each of the menu items, or you can create kind of more generic products, so to say. So you could do the weekly salad with chicken, weekly salad with steak. As long as they're at the same price point, you can still use those tags product to product. So what happens after the 1-year warranty? How much are the parts to replace? Is there training on how to replace the parts? Brian, great question. After the 1-year warranty, basically, if a part fails, you'll pay for the price of that part. The good news is that the parts that do fail are typically not very expensive. So it might be a new cable, or it might be a door handle that got mishandled. And typically those parts are less than $100, maybe $200. But really, we have built these fridges to be workhorses and really to last. I'll give you a recent example. We've seen in the past that the repeated door opening was really wearing on cables, and that was causing screen failures in a handful of our clients. And so now all fridges that we ship have a cable guide that protects the cables, and that's immediately boosted the failure rate on that specific part. So we do pride ourselves on being a workhorse of a solution. We want these fridges out there for years. A question, for my first machine, what is a good ratio of employees or residents per machine? Isaiah, it's a good question, and I'm going to answer it with an annoying answer, and it really depends. So for employees, what it depends on is a few things. Is the workplace wanting to subsidize the food? If they want to subsidize the food, it kind of decreases the number of employees that you need. Are they willing, some small workplaces are willing to pay you a service fee in order to get you in the door servicing the fridge. So if a small workplace is willing to pay you $500 a month just to provide the service, again, that reduces the number of employees that you're going to need. But if none of those are true, I would say anywhere from like 100 to 200 employees, particularly if there's not very good food options, is a good rule of thumb that we've seen. And then residents per machine, it really depends, again, on the proximity to other food, the placement of the fridge, all of that. I think the one thing to keep in mind, far and away the most important thing, is just get a fridge out there and start testing. Like I said, they're really easily movable, but you just want to get into the rhythm of servicing the machine, see what's working, what's not working, what's selling, what's not selling. You could always move it to a new location. What is the sweet spot in terms of price point and strategies? Isaiah, we see so many different success stories across a range of price points. I think the product has to be good. If you're going to just take kind of your normal set that you'd find in a vending machine into a Byte kiosk, you're going to see sales that look like vending machine sales, as opposed to sales that have a well-rounded set of fresh food, of snacks, of drinks, breakfast items, lunch items, thinking about all the day parts when somebody's actually going to be buying from that machine is really key. How are the Bytes refrigerators products restocked? Logistic company, individuals, etc. So Byte is the technology platform. We don't provide any operational support necessarily. You as the operator would stock that machine. You would have the kind of ongoing deliveries in order to replenish it. Of course, if this question is being made from a location that wants to have a Byte fridge, then we can match you with operators in your area if you don't want to have to handle any of the operations. That's also an option. Okay, let me see. We've got some questions in the chat as well. Let me just clear through these. Question on branding. You can brand the fridge however you wish. So we provide a spec sheet that has all of the dimensions. If you want to skin it with stickers, you can custom brand the receipt. All of that is customizable by you. All right, questions in the chat. We have, what is the fee / percentage of sales to Byte each month? So it's we charge a flat software license fee of $125, and that includes cellular connectivity on every fridge, which basically means you don't have to go through the headache of getting an Ethernet cable run. And then the credit card processing fee of 4.5%. And that's just a pass-through. We don't make any money on credit card processing. I dislike the idea of finding a location. Can the sales team do this for me? I know of a good location as a warm lead. I am in Chicago. We're more than happy to help. Just reach out to our team. As I mentioned, our entire team has experience selling this service into locations. What's the average sales per customer on existing units? It really is all over the map. I'll give you a few data points. The average sales from a client who has locations throughout a number of airports is about $8,000 in food per month. The average sales for one of the largest grocers in the US that's putting these in hospitals and workplaces and whatnot is about $2,500 per month. The average sales for a client that is charging $750 per month just to have the service in the building is doing about $1,600 in month in food sales. So it really depends. Ashley, no worries for being tardy to the party. And Jimmy, thank you for the vote of confidence. I appreciate that. Let's see, we've got a few more questions that came in. Does the machine accept Apple Pay and Google Pay? Brian, soon, yes. We'll be launching a new model of the fridge in end of September, early October. It will have a slightly higher price tag than what I presented to you today of that $4,500, just because the cost for us is increasing. But yes, we'll be launching that soon. Chia, welcome from Toronto. We're not yet supporting Canada yet, but definitely reach out so we can get you on our list when we are there. We are live in Dubai, in the UAE, but we haven't opened up any additional countries at the moment. Soon though. Question, I just bought a fridge. Will there be an upgrade available for Apple Pay? Not right off the bat. We may work on that as an add-on, but not in October. Any other questions, guys? I've got through the content very quick. 12:39. A question, is there a fee for the sales team to assist with the location leads? There's not, we don't charge a fee, but we do need a commitment that you'll follow through with the purchase of the fridge if we're able to get you a location. How often do you stock the food? Tim, very good question. It really depends. And I think this is the beauty of having the real-time data is you see what's selling and when it's selling. And you know how often you have to go out there. So there's two factors that will determine how often you stock the food. The first is the shelf life of the product that you're stocking. And then the second is the velocity, how quickly you're selling through that food. So for instance, if you're stocking food with a 3-day shelf life, you have to go out there on that 3rd day. If you're stocking food with a 7-day shelf life, you could actually go out once a week and be fine. But those are the two driving factors. How different are the machines with and without Apple Pay? And if I have the old machine, can I just get a new swipe instead of a new machine? I want to make sure I'm understanding the core machines aren't different. It's basically the main difference is the ability to have support for EMV cards as well as contactless payment. If you just want the kind of the less expensive version with the swipe, I would encourage you to get your orders in before we could transition to the new model. Any operators have any experience in placing kiosks in co-working spaces? Absolutely, 100%. We see a number of fridges that are in co-working spaces today. I think the key there is just making sure there's enough people in the building in any given day and that there's not proximity to a lot of other food options. But yes, we've seen co-working spaces be very successful. I love this question. Do locations or buildings charge us a fee? If so, how is that negotiated typically? So we've run into this a number of times actually. I'll give you an example. A large university hospital in San Francisco initially proposed that when we were operating the service, that we pay them a revenue share, because this is a typical model with a standard vending machine. And fast forward to actually what ended up happening, they ended up paying us $500 a month just to provide the service. And the way you navigate away from that is the fact that you are providing a completely different service than vending. It's fresh, perishable food, and you're taking all of the risk of that sell-through. And that building, that location, is getting a tremendous value for whomever is in that building. And so you can either navigate out of it in that way, or you can have, yes, I'd be more than willing to do a revenue share with you for any sales over $2,000 a month or over $3,000 a month, so that you've got a minimum threshold where you feel comfortable with the profitability that would allow you to have that kind of a revenue share. If my cost basis is $1, how much do I mark it up? Tim, it really depends. So it really depends. And I'll answer it in a few different ways. Sometimes you'll have a reference point because you're buying an item on a wholesale basis and there's a manufacturer's suggested retail price. But if you've got a sandwich that costs you $1, the question becomes, okay, what is the willingness to pay for that sandwich? What are the comparable other options? Is it $4? Is it $5? That's the way I would encourage you to look at it, is what do comparable other options for these people cost? Or you can just take the approach of, particularly if you're buying everything on a wholesale basis, I want to have a 2x markup. So if I'm buying it for $1, I'm going to charge $2. It really depends. Just don't forget the level of convenience that you are delivering to consumers with this solution, and that gives you typically a higher limit than, if you were in a retail setting or a grocery store. Isaiah's question, can you continue to name some general places? So I think the question here is like, what other kinds of locations have we seen Byte kiosk go into? I think this is the coolest part, you guys. I mean, we saw prisons. Prisons have a very high at-risk employee population for chronic disease, and they don't have a lot of great food options. And so San Quentin Prison put Byte fridges in and available for their employees to purchase food 24/7. I've already mentioned hospitals, but healthcare clinics. We've seen nonprofits use this. We've seen police departments and city department, or what's it called, government offices use Byte. What are some other interesting K through 12 universities, community colleges? Those are all top of mind. Gyms, many different types of locations benefit from a Byte kiosk. What's the average profit per fridge? Tim, that's really hard to answer without knowing your cost basis, but we do have a calculator that our sales team can share with you or walk through with you. So just reach out. You can reach out to me directly if you'd like, megan@bytetechnology.co. Is it normal for clients to pay a fee to have the machine at their location? So I think when you're saying clients, you're talking about the actual location that's hosting the kiosk. Is it normal? I would say it's hard to say. We have some clients that have a nice premium offering where they definitely charge a fee in order to provide a service at a location, and we have others that don't. Again, I think a key piece there is determining what your unit economics look like, and would it behoove you to charge a fee? From your operator experience, what are your key takeaways for last mile distribution? Like, what time of day is best to stock the fridge, and how many locations could you do per van? We learned so many things about this. I think the biggest takeaway was get after hours access. That was huge, just because if there's less cars on the road, if you don't have to deal with all the people that are already in the building and parking and all of that, that was huge. And so ultimately we ended up having one truck do 2 routes in a day. They do kind of an early morning route, and then they do an evening route to hit the locations where we had after hours service. And we even got to the point, just because our cost per drop was so low on those evening drops, where we would incentivize accounts to give us after hours access. We'd offer them, we'll sponsor a 5% or a 10% happy hour for you on Fridays, which also happened to help us with minimizing spoilage. So you can get really creative there. But typically we saw a van could do, depending on the proximity of locations, up to service up to 35 kiosks, and that van would be doing 2 routes per day. All right, I think I saw some questions in the chat. Will there be another Zoom meeting? Would like to have all info from beginning to end, or can the recording be emailed so that I can review? Yes, you will be getting a recording of this, absolutely. And you're welcome on our website. You can actually schedule a meeting with us directly from the site. So if you want to have a one-on-one meeting to discuss all the ins and outs, you can do that as well. Can there be more than one fridge at a location? Absolutely, yes, 100%. Think of these as Legos. Think of them as Legos in the sense that, let's say it's a corporate campus with 25 buildings, and this is an actual scenario we've been in. There's 25 buildings, but there's only 3 cafes, which is fine, but ideally you have fresh food easily available for everybody, and you can place a Byte fridge in every building or even on every floor. Similarly, let's say you're in a very large factory with a lot of employees. You can have Byte fridges next to one another. So you have the ability for multiple people to transact at once. Then we've got another question here. Okay, I think I answered that. How do you calculate the cost of delivery? Tim, is your question the cost of delivery with regards to servicing the fridges? you can do it back of the envelope. So are you going to be doing the delivery yourself, or are you going to have an employee? If you have an employee, how long is it going to take them to do the delivery? I would look at the drive time to your closest location. Restocking takes 7 minutes maybe, because all the driver has to do is remove any product that's expiring and add product that needs to be in stock. The fridge does all the calculation as to what was added and what was removed. There's no manual check-in. So that restock process when you're actually at the fridge is very quick. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a key value driver for Byte. Isaiah, thank you for the thumbs up to Matthew. I will let him know. I'm glad he was very helpful. Any other questions, guys? Last chance. This is fantastic. I really hope that this was valuable. If you can give me oh, we've got one more question. Does the food come from Byte? No, we do not provide food. We provide all of the technology. But if you don't have food is actually relatively easy to get. We actually have a YouTube video demonstrating how you can go to Costco, and with a single run at Costco, you can have all the food that you need to stock a fridge. And that's at 50%, more than 50% margin on that food. So check that out. Also, talk with others in your community. There's, particularly in this day and age, talking with caterers that want to still get their food out there could be a good source. There's others in your community that you can partner with to get food out the door and into a Byte fridge. All right. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was helpful. Please, as I mentioned, you can reach out to me directly, Megan, MEGAN, at bytetechnology.co. Or if you want to schedule a meeting, you can go directly to our website and click book a meeting. And we'd be happy to talk through your situation and answer all your questions in that manner as well. So thank you, guys. I hope you have a beautiful Wednesday, and I hope to be working with many of you soon. Bye.